It is Gary from Michigan. What can I do for you?
I've just been listening to you for a few months, and you seem to make a lot of sense. I've suffered from depression for 20, 25 years, been on and off different medications. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
No, they never will. When they're working, they're really just keeping you from seeing that you've got a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to gather. I just, the other problems that have all the problems that come along with that, with the family and my own life.
Because your common sense is depressed, and your emotional, your irrational side doesn't function very well. You function more from emotions and from anger and rage and going along to get along, and everything gets worse because of that. And then you get more depression because you get angry. What you have to break in the cycle is a vicious cycle. Things go wrong, you get upset. All right.
Exactly.
Now, where you have to catch it, something's going to go wrong when you put down the phone, because it's like a production line. Something's in motion, which you've set in motion already. All right. Several things are going to go wrong, which you helped to make happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to eat that, and you have to own it.
Yeah.
Now, once you can do that, you can be a man. You can be a man said, yeah, I see, I got upset, and that's why I got a bigger problem. Now they're upset with me, etc., etc. It's worse. It is an evolution of upsets, an evolution of revenge, getting even, so to speak, rebellion, conformity, going along. For you, it'd be going along, but you're going along with someone who's wrong, and you're giving them power, and then you get upset by it because things don't go right when you go along with them, and you shouldn't be going along with people. But anger makes you want to not be angry, and if you go along so as to avoid being angry, and you get angry anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, here's the remedy. What keeps the cycle going is resentment. If you can meet the next moment and be prepared for it, and I'll freeze frame it right now. Be prepared for the next moment when something is going to go wrong as sure as hell as it will. And if you could learn to stand back and sort of, take it in your stride. Feel the pain, the hurt, but not the anger towards it. Feel the hurt, not the hate. It's okay to feel the hurt, but not the hate. And you have to have a certain objective state to know what I'm talking about.
What I was really want to know, where do I start?
You know that anger is your Achilles heel. Do you see that?
Yeah.
All right. Since you know that, but you don't have any power over it, that's also true, is it not?
Yeah.
Which you wish you could have power over it. You wish you could be more patient and learn to endure like a Jesus.
Yeah. Well, when I try to be patient, I just bottle it up.
I know, but that's not patience.
Yeah.
So you're just reacting with anger, and you're managing your anger internally. That's dangerous. That's what causing your depression, isn't it?
I think so.
You can't function. You're too busy bottling it up. You spend all your energies bottling up and not expressing the goodness of your heart.
Yeah.
So you have to follow a middle ground. If you get upset and you bury it, that's bad. If you get upset and express it, that's also bad, isn't it? You hurt people.
Yeah.
So now you've got two bads. You have two unfortunate extremes. Where's the middle ground? The middle ground has to do with grace. And if you could sit quietly, if you could realize that of yourself you can do nothing, and there's a space in your mind, I'm talking to you from that space in my mind, hoping that you can go to that space in your mind where you will receive grace. It's a very mysterious thing. But if you are to go there, you have to become detached from your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You're not your body. You're not your hair. You're not your car. But you're identified with all the aforementioned things. You're identified with materiality, including your own body. But in this detachment state, you become identified with God. In other words, somehow, all of a sudden, you feel free. The soul is free from the bondage to the excitements of materiality and cruelty and injustice of the world. But the fact that you are willing to go to that space pleases God, and you're going to feel His love. Because, how can I say this? To go to that space inside you, which now follows you as a conscience, it seems like your enemy. Your conscience seems like an enemy, but it's not your enemy. It's an enemy of the enemy. You are in bondage to a dark side of you and to the world around you. So if you're going to be free, the truth has to set you free. The truth is ever present, waiting to unfold, but it's not the enemy, but it feels like it's very hard to sit still because you're going to feel worse before you get better.
Yeah.
You're going to get, because you've been running from what is making you worse. But what is making you worse is only trying to tell you what's happening to you, that you're growing and going the wrong way by getting angry and upset. It wants you to calm down and let go and let God act through you. Yeah. You can actually see the resentment rise, and the soul, comes down and wallows in it. Same with pleasure. Careful with pleasure. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
I hope that's clear.
Yes, yes.
But as long as you're reacting to the world, he can't act through you. Don't you see that?
Yeah.
So when you come to this space inside you, it will require something of you. It will require your obedience forever. In other words, once you receive grace, you have no more choice to do anything wrong. So when temptation comes along, you will discover that even though you have the impulse to be angry, suddenly the anger goes away. Even though you may have the impulse to drink, where you couldn't have resisted it, you now can easily resist it. You have the grace to do it. And slowly but surely, you shed yourself of your slavery to the world, your soul's slavery to the world, because your soul was involved with your thoughts and feelings. It was like a slave of it. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So are you willing to live a good life, the perfect life, for always, or not? That's the question. Or do you really want the love of people, and you want materiality, and you've got too many things too important to you? You have to be willing to make all the outcome of your personal desires less important. Let me ask you,
yes, sir.
How do you feel now?
I feel a little better. I've been wanting to call you for a while, and it took some time to get up nerve to call you. But
shouldn't need any nerve. It's the dark side that keeps you back.
Yeah.
See, it's the dark side that keeps you away.
Yes, sir.
It's afraid, not you. I'm glad you called.
I am, too.
Only the truth will make you free. You have to live by it. Truth is your common sense lived. That's all it is. And the first rule of common sense, don't resent your neighbor. Don't be upset. Don't be angry with people. Just understand, forgive them, for they know not what they do. For the want of God, so go you. Follow that?
Yeah.
They cannot help themselves. So all the people, all the family members you hate, and all the problems they give to you, they're out of control. And they're throwing me out of control, and you have to stand as a contrast. So you throw them back on themselves. And no matter how many times they come at you, you stand your ground. There must never be a hint of resentment. Every time it comes at you, you'll see the resentment rise, but you don't indulge it. You can see it actually beginning to rise, but then you don't come down to indulge it. You're in conflict. You see, the animal you, the ego you, is in conflict with the true you. But if you're true to yourself, you won't have any conflict. If you're at peace with yourself, you'll always be at war with the world, because the world can't have their way with you anymore, because you stand as a shining light to the world. They have no tolerance for you. So you'll always have troubles, and you'll always have confrontations. Always. But you deal with it the way I just said. You learn to deal with imperfect people perfectly, which is patient, endurance. You don't sit and judge them. You don't get angry with them. You may get hurt, but you don't resent the hurt. And you will survive life, and you'll grow larger than life. Is that what you want?
Yes, I do.
So, but then
exactly what I want.
Only the truth will make you free. You have to live by it. Truth is your common sense lived. That's all it is. And the first rule of common sense, don't resent your neighbor. Don't be upset. Don't be angry with people. Just understand, forgive them, for they know not what they do. For the want of God, so go you. Follow that?
Yeah.
They cannot help themselves. So all the people, all the family members you hate, and all the problems they give to you, they're out of control. And they're throwing me out of control, and you have to stand as a contrast. So you throw them back on themselves. And no matter how many times they come at you, you stand your ground. There must never be a hint of resentment. Every time it comes at you, you'll see the resentment rise, but you don't indulge it. You can see it actually beginning to rise, but then you don't come down to indulge it.